Hello guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Lucy Marutle and I hope to awaken your consciousness. Guys, thank you so much for liking, for subscribing, for sharing, for commenting on my videos, on my channel. It really means a lot to me. My aim is really to demystify complex concepts that I found very complex at first. And I just hope to share my learnings and my findings in this journey of personal development. Now, today we are going to speak about nailing your personal brand and establishing or enhancing your power presence in the workplace, in your personal zone, domain, whatever you call it, and your business, wherever. But 2021, guys, must be different. It must be different. 2020 took us by surprise. Most of our brands disappeared. Most of our power presence shrunk. And that is because of this pandemic. We never ever thought we would do business through Teams or Zoom. It becomes a challenge, to be quite honest, because, in the past, it was a matter of just, meeting with somebody in person and connecting on a human level based on visuals, based on connection, physical, face-to-face connection. But these days has proven to be a challenge, and understandably so. I think we're doing great as a nation. We're doing great as a human race, but I think we can do better in establishing our personal brands and creating a power presence for ourselves. And this applies to any aspect of your life. So without wasting any more time, guys, I have, based on my experience in the corporates, and that would be over 20 years, to be quite honest. Yes, I am matured. I am a matured woman, guys. I am 42. So yes, 20 years of experience in the corporate, and I must say that I have learned quite a lot. So let's get into it. Let's not forget the fact that we are moving into an era where digitalization cannot be avoided, guys. We have to align. We have to understand that, there are things we have to unlearn, and we have to learn new things to adapt to the transitioning into digitalization. So we have noticed, for example, in my role, in my career, find myself having loads of meetings with people that I cannot shake hands with people I cannot hug, or even wink. It becomes a challenge to build new relationships, to be quite honest, in the working environment. But I think I've found a way of maintaining these relationships and creating more relationships, and just establishing power presence and making sure I enhance my personal brand. And everybody ought to have a brand. Every company, every innovative organization has a personal brand. So should you, as a general employee or a person or a company, you should have your personal brand. And when I talk about personal brand, I'm talking about a brand, in my definition, is a covenant or a promise that you make to your stakeholders, your buyers, your clients, that you will show up, you will be consistent, and you will deliver something. That X, you will deliver X. And you will do it consistently. That is a promise. And you are known by your brand, the way you show up, right? We're not talking about brand exclusively, but I tie personal brand with power presence, because I don't think you can divorce the one from another, because your power presence emerges from your personal brand, I think. And also remember that, okay, before I get into the technicalities, right? Have you ever walked into a room or found yourself amongst people that just command your attention? They just command, that they have this aura, this dignity, this beautiful aura of inspiration, and you just want to be around these people. You know, a typical example, Obama. You know, the Oprahs, they command, you know, your time and your attention, and you thinking, oh my goodness, you know, this person inspires me. I could be stuck in an elevator on Small Street in Johannesburg CBD with them in an elevator, and I would be just fine. They just ooze of this confidence, and it doesn't have that force element. I don't know if any of you has read a book by David Hawkins, Force versus Power. It talks about the scale of consciousness, and in this book it literally says that, you know, there's a difference between a person that acts from an emotion of fear and hatred and anger and envy, to a person that acts from a position of emotion of love and duality and courage. There's a difference, and I'm talking about the people that almost you know, engage from an emotion on that level. You know, they operate from love, and it's effortless. They're there showing up in their authentic self. That's power presence for me. It's a person who it takes no effort to just ooze and inspire people around them. These are leaders that don't have to say much, just their presence is enough, you know, to command respect and reverence. I'm talking about those people. How do you get to that stage without using force, without being loud? You know, how do you attain that in the corporate space, especially now that we do not have this one-on-one engagement? You know, that is critical for me. And that's what I say to myself, Lucy, as we go in, as we transition into 2021, you know, you need to make sure you are positioned correctly. You know, your power presence is undeniable and your personal brand is enhanced, you know, because that is important to me as a person working in the corporate, as a person who is an entrepreneur, as a person who, you know, yearns to influence and impact. All right, so I'll get into it. So I have a couple of, and I like to write notes because I would veer away insanely if I'm not controlled by my pointers, right? So I have a couple of tips to establishing or actually enhancing your personal brand and your power presence in 2021. So number one, I said, be true to yourself. Guys, you cannot give what you don't have. It has to be in here for it to come out and impact your external world. So you need to work on yourself. You need to be authentic. You need to know who Lucy is before Lucy shows up in the world. So what am I saying here? I'm saying, number one, if you want to maintain power presence or have any form of power presence, you need to be authentic. You need to know yourself such that you ooze authenticity from within. Now, referring back to the scale of consciousness, when you operate from fear, the bottom category of the scale of consciousness that Hawkins speaks about, you operate under a certain sense of falsehood, ego. That's where you find yourself competing with your counterparts. You are always forceful. You know, you are false. It's a facade. To you, it's just climbing up the corporate ladder. But if you operate from the higher part of the category around love, you know, where you know that there is abundance, you know, you operate from love and gratitude and not fear, your authenticity comes through, it shines through, and everybody wants to be associated with somebody that is pure and authentic. They don't want to be associated with fake people. Somebody said that no one wants to know what you know until they know that you care. And you can only care if you are authentic, if you are vulnerable. So number one, honestly, is be authentic. When you are in the corporate, when you are in your business serving your clients, wherever you find yourself, there is nothing so beautiful as exposing the authentic self. Operate from love and not fear. Number two, all right, you need to create and establish, actually, you need to define your personal principles, your values, In the workplace specifically, now that we operate from a little bubble, probably in your home or in a restaurant, and you engage with your clients through Teams, for example, understand that you need to stick to your principles, i.e., and I don't like to call it time management, I'd rather call it energy management, but you need to be true to yourself and have those principles to say that I have a start to finish. I have create boundaries, plan your tasks, and also communicate those principles. So for example, I'll make an example of my schedule. Daily, I block my calendar between 6 to 8. I am hiking. That's my personal time. I will be available after 8 for any meeting. In the evening, 5 o'clock to 6 o'clock, I'm on my daily hike. That's where I connect with my source or whatever. So I communicate that to my stakeholders by virtue of blocking of my calendar. So have principles, make sure, because it is a known fact that you end up working longer hours when working from home. Have boundaries, clear ones, and articulate them and communicate them to your stakeholders. Manage your energy and not your time. For example, I make sure I delve into tasks that require my alert state of mind in the morning after my workouts, because that's when I have the most energy. And then I kind of prioritize my day such that I cluster, or I categorize my tasks according to my energy. But at the end of the day, I deliver quality. That is the whole idea. So that is defining your individual principles and communicating that to your stakeholders. That is also a way of establishing, your brand. People know that, when she is available, she delivers, and there is no confusion about boundaries there. Number 3, I said here, intentionally create and build relationships. I cannot stress this enough, and I have learned over the years that creating relationships is the only saving grace on this earth. And I'm not talking only in your workplace. Relationship building or networking is the most important tool to surviving and thriving on this planet, guys. I cannot stress that enough. And what I do is that I have a plan of how many people I want to meet, new people I want to meet in a month, right? I started this recently. I was not into this kind of techniques, but I found it very beneficial, especially during COVID, where it is said that we need to social distance, and I'm craving for these relationships. So what I do is, for example, I have to join a meeting at 1 o'clock. 5 to 1, I will join in, hoping that a person I do not know lingers in the lobby so that I can say hi and ask them about the weather and what they think about COVID. I would intentionally have a conversation with a stranger. I do that a lot, even when I go to the shops. I make sure I strike a conversation with somebody I don't know necessarily. When I'm in the hiking, in nature, and I meet somebody at the resting spot, I will literally stop there and ask them, what they think of certain plants or what they think about the place, and it's such an amazing, amazing feeling just to learn about something new, meet somebody new. Even the current relationships that you have, strengthen those. More than anything, more than ever, we need interaction with humanity. We need a larger pool of people in our circles, And what else do I do? Yeah, so I would make sure I strike up conversations with strangers, or intentionally build, strengthen my current ones. So it's very important, guys, because you will never know when you will meet. You will need these people, or when you will impact them even. So it's very important. So in order, to have a lasting power presence and a brand, extend your network circles. That is just something everybody should be doing. And you need to have a roadmap for that, I think. So number 4 is, before I forget, around creating those relationships. Now, we have an issue where I find a gap in the corporate is that because we don't see each other often, and we see each other, well, we speak to each other over Teams, and it's usually through audio. What I find has worked for me is that I always have my camera on. When I speak, if I share, I am there and I will make contact with you through my camera. Not only to show you that I respect and honor your time for being with me, but also to project my intention, because in my role, there are tough things I need to say, but if I have my camera on, you can see the intention via my eyes. It's literally like connecting, and people are visual people. You get buy-in if they trust you. And before they trust you, they must see you. So it leads me to another point of saying, stay well groomed. Be, just look good, smell good, feel good. It's important, because what I notice these days is that people would be like, I'm in my PJs and it's 12 o'clock, and I'm thinking, sister, no ways. You wake up, you look good, and you will feel good, and you will deliver more if you feel good. That's just me. Maybe I'm in my bubble, but that's the way. Whether it is Monday or Friday, I will dress up, look fine, and show up and deliver. So try it. Put on the camera and engage with your stakeholders. You will be surprised how many people will actually be drawn to you and want to talk to you, because now they can see you. And I have built the most relationships over COVID, to be quite honest, than I did in the past. And to everybody that I've established relationships with, hello, this is for you guys. So don't forget, always be well groomed and be ready, for you don't know when you would be required to switch the camera on. And I think it's so cool to just see each other, to be quite honest. Number 5, guys, do stuff that nobody wants to do. I don't care what your title is. Do stuff that people find menial. For example, you walk into a meeting, nobody's taking notes, put your hand up, regardless of where you are. I'll do it. People are attracted to people's energies, guys. And if you are out there to serve, guess what? It all comes back. People honor such people. People want to be associated with solution bringers. So if you sit around a meeting and you have nothing to say, it's quite okay to shut up, hey? Listen to everybody else. Be the last to speak. You need to kill the ego. You just need to kill the ego. That is what needs to happen in 2021. You will be effective. You will build relationships in doing just that. Number 5, always expand your knowledge. I'm a project manager. I'm a subject matter expert in my field, but I don't stop learning. I am constantly, and this is to my boss, I am coming for another course. I love to expand my knowledge. I'm always there. And what I've decided to do as well is to learn a new skill. So just because I'm a project manager doesn't mean I must be limited to that. I would do stuff like courses like data analytics, coding, just to, build my network pool again. Because the more I learn about, say, data analytics, there we go. I have a conduit that will enable me to network more in other areas. Do you see, guys? And I'm so mindful of time. But these are the few points that I gathered for you guys for now. And I am going to do a part 2. But yeah, guys, let's work on building our personal brands, inspiring people, and being unforgettable. Guys, when we meet people, they must remember that, damn, that girl oozes of confidence. She knows what she's talking about. She does not disappoint. She is reliable and always helpful. That's the idea, especially now during Corona, guys, because our brands have diminished. Our power presence have literally died because we don't see each other. So here, I'm just giving you tips as to how to maintain that and how to get it if you haven't established it. And as always, I love you guys. Namaste. Be sure to subscribe. I will be doing so many of these videos because I feel that I have honestly, humbly learned a lot in the corporate world. And I hope I inspire some girl one day out there. I love you guys. Namaste.